Hi friends, welcome back to the next round of book talks. We finished the Lone Star books and we're getting ready to move into genres today. Our first genre is horror stories. If you're like me, you like a good ghost story, especially when you need to be distracted. It may seem counterintuitive. Some people don't like that, but for me, I'm super distracted. I can get into that world of the artificial scare. Just like always, all the books on this list are available in Sora. If you are a Cypher student, you can just go to the Sora app or go online to soraapp.com and log in with your regular computer login. Today we're going to talk about some of my favorite scary stories. Some are newer, some are older. It's just kind of a wide variety of things. And the first thing on the list is one of my favorite series, ghost story or not, and it is Lockwood & Co. There's 5 books in this series. It's by Jonathan Stroud. The first book is called The Screaming Staircase, and the main character is a girl named Lucy. She has been working for a big company whose job it is to eradicate ghosts, because there's a problem. All over England, ghosts are running rampant. They're everywhere, causing all kinds of problems. And it's not just a nuisancey kind of problem. You can get ghost touched, which could cause you serious injury or horrible, gruesome death. And to make matters worse, adults cannot see ghosts at all. They might be able to hear them, they might be able to sense that there's a ghost near them, but they can't see the ghost, so they can't avoid the ghost. Only certain children who are sensitive, who have supernatural psychic abilities, can detect these ghosts. Therefore, children are the ones who are responsible for going into these dangerous situations to get rid of ghosts. Most of the agencies are run by adults, and they're big agencies with lots of people. Lucy has worked for one of those before, but now she wants something different, and she goes to get a job at Lockwood & Co. Lockwood is very small. It's run by Anthony Lockwood, who is himself a kid, so he has this supernatural ability as well. It's Anthony, Lucy, and George, who's kind of their research expert guy, and they are trying to make a name for themselves without falling under government control or falling under the control of one of these big ghost hunting agencies. The case in this book is the Screaming Staircase. They end up having to take a job at the most haunted house in Britain, which has a room called the Red Room, and then there's also the Screaming Staircase. No one has been able to eradicate these ghosts, but Anthony Lockwood is sure that he and his cohorts can, and so they end up going to this haunted manor house to try to get rid of the ghosts. These books are super creepy. They're super awesome. They have lots of great character development. In each book, there's a mystery that they have to solve that is kind of completed by the end of that book, but there's also the overarching mystery that goes through all the books. That is, what created this problem? Where did all these ghosts suddenly come from? And how can we get rid of them? How can we solve this problem once and for all? So that's kind of the overarching story for all the books. I, again, love this series. Super awesome. You should all read it. It is one of my favorite all-time series. This next book is super creepy. If you've ever heard someone say something is atmospheric, this is definitely a book that's atmospheric. What that means is just that when you're reading the book, you really feel like you're there. You get that kind of creepy sense that you're in the place, that the scary stuff in the story is actually happening to you. This book is called Lankin. It's by Lindsey Barraclough, and it's about a girl named Cora and her little sister Mimi. They are sent to the country to stay with their great aunt, who they don't know, and who is kind of creepy and not very nice. She does all these like superstitious things, like putting an iron horseshoe above the door, and there are all kinds of wards and things that she puts all around the house, and she's very particular that everything in the house has to be kept exactly how it is. She's not very welcoming, to say the least. But then the girls find out about this local legend called Lankin. And this is a creature who shows up to steal little girls and take them away. And their great aunt actually has some history with Lankin from the last time he appeared that they don't know about. This book is so creepy and atmospheric. You will definitely feel like you are in a small English village in the middle of nowhere being haunted by this creature from folklore. If you're looking for something that's super creepy, you will definitely enjoy this one. I will say, this one's not necessarily young adult content-wise. It just is a more complex story. It's a little bit harder to get into for maybe somebody who has a lower reading level, but if you are a strong reader, definitely you will enjoy this one. It's really good and it has a really cool cover too, which is always really important. This next one is definitely an older series, but if you are into zombies and you have not read the Rot and Ruin series, I don't even know that you can say that you're into zombies, because these books are awesome. There are 5 books in the series. The first one is called Rot and Ruin. It's about a kid named Benny, and the story takes place like the zombie apocalypse has kind of already happened in the past. The zombies already rose up, they already killed a bunch of people, the horror part, all that blood and gore and stuff has kind of already happened, and now the people who are left live in these kind of fortified towns. But because resources are so scarce and it's really hard to get any resources in or out, you have to be a productive member of society. If you're not, they cut you off and you starve to death, or they kick you out. Like, you can't just be a loafer. And Benny has turned 16, which is the age where you have to get a job. Oh, sorry, he's 15, which is the age where you have to get a job, you have to be productive, you're no longer under the protection of the state. And he has never really found what he wants to do, so the only option available to him is to apprentice to his older brother Tom. Tom is a zombie hunter. He goes outside the city and kind of takes out zombies, or zoms as they call them in the book, to keep the people inside the city safe. Now, most of the super active zombies are gone by now, so Benny thinks this is just going to be like boring, you know, taking care of the slow, sluggish zombies. You can kind of take them out at your own pace. But that is not what happens. There are some pretty intense scenes in this book, so if you are in for the zombie action where, you know, you're surrounded by zombies and they're all trying to get you, don't worry, there'll be plenty of that in this story. But what's great about this is Benny and Tom have a really strained relationship because of how their parents died, and you can guess their parents died in the beginning of the zombie attack. They just don't get along very well, and so this book explores their relationship. It explores the relationship with their parents who are gone. It's such a great book about the relationships, zombie stuff aside. I definitely recommend this one. If you know me, you know I don't like zombies, because the idea of rotting dead flesh walking around trying to touch me grosses me out. But despite that, I still really enjoyed this book. You should definitely check it out. Okay, next on our list we have a newer series. It's still in process right now. The first book is called City of Ghosts. It's by Victoria Schwab. The second book is out right now. Both of those books are available on Sora. And this is about a girl named Cassidy Blake, whose parents are kind of a supernatural ghost hunting duo. So her dad does like the history, hard facts of the supposedly haunted places, and her mom does more of the emotional stuff, like the story behind it and how people were feeling and all of that kind of stuff. They have written a series of books which have been optioned by a TV network to be made into a television show. And the first special will be based in Scotland, which means Cassidy and her family are going to Scotland. So there go all of her plans. They just go straight out the window. She's headed off to Scotland. Well, there's another kind of wrinkle in this, and this is something that Cassidy's parents don't know. Cassidy almost died in a car accident not too long ago. She was driving over a frozen bridge, lost control of the car, went into the water, and she almost died, but she was saved by a guy who turns out to actually be a ghost. Now, he is now her best friend. They spend all their time together, but she's the only one who can see and talk to him because he is a ghost. The fact that she nearly died has given her this connection to the other side. So she can communicate with ghosts. She can, what she calls, part the curtain and see what's on the other side, even though she doesn't really want to. The only person she wants to talk to is her friend, Jacob. Nobody else. Well, when she goes to Scotland, of course, all that's going to change because it's way older than anywhere she's ever been in the United States, and there are ghosts, of course, everywhere. It is a haunted place. It has a haunted history, and there's a super powerful ghost there who's kind of taken an interest in Cassidy, and she will have to try to protect herself from that ghost. But she also meets someone else for the first time in her life who has the same ability that she does, so she kind of gets a little bit of training from this girl. Love this series. Each book in the series is set in another haunted city. So the first book is set in Edinburgh, Scotland. The second book is set in Paris. I just can't wait for the next one. I love this ghost story in a different European city, globetrotting travel adventure with ghosts. Sign me up. Super awesome, good fun, good times. Next, we have A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. This is a series. There are 3 books in the series so far, and this is definitely appropriate for upper elementary on up. It's about a girl named Kelly who had planned to spend her Halloween at a party with her friends, but her mom's new boss calls in a panic at the last minute because her babysitter canceled. So of course Kelly gets roped into babysitting for this little kid. She's not happy about it. She doesn't want to do it, but begrudgingly she does, and she falls in. She ends up kind of liking the kid. Well, he doesn't want to go to bed. She puts him to bed. He comes out crying. There's a monster under the bed. I can't go to sleep. And so after several times of reassuring him that there's no monster under the bed, she puts him in the room and doesn't hear anything from him. Well, she decides to check in on him a little bit later and discovers he is actually missing, and there's evidence that he has been taken. This is when Kelly discovers that babysitters are not just regular kids. They're actually monster hunting special agents whose job it is to protect the special kids, because the monsters want to steal these special kids so that they can never grow up and do the great things that they were supposed to do. Well, she meets the babysitters, and they're really mad at her because they're like, you did a terrible job. But she refuses to just give up and go home. She's like, this is my responsibility. I need to help you take care of this problem. And so she goes out with the babysitters to try to save this little kid from the monsters. This is kind of in the scary, funny vein. So if you like the Last Kids on Earth series, that kind of idea, you will definitely enjoy these books as well. Scary, funny, really cute. I enjoyed these a lot. The next book is not really in the horror genre, it's more science fiction, but I'm including it because it's one of the most horrifying things I have ever read in my life. It is definitely creepy and scary. It's called Sweet. It's by Emmy Laybourne, and it's about a girl named Laurel whose best friend Viv convinces her to go on a weight loss cruise with her. Viv has always been really obsessed with losing weight, and this cruise is this exclusive celebrity cruise. It costs a lot of money to go on the cruise. You either have to be like a celebrity who gets invited or be rich enough to buy your ticket to try out this new weight loss product called Solu. And they put the Solu in the food, and it makes everything taste good. And people magically start losing weight, but they also start acting really strangely. Like, they quickly become super addicted to Solu, and Laurel starts feeling nervous because she can tell something is not quite right. There's also a guy on the ship named Tom Farrelly. He's a former child actor, and he's kind of hoping to restart his career by doing some reports from the ship, but he also notices that strange things are happening, and it turns out that he and Laurel are actually the only 2 passengers who have not been eating the food with the Solu in it. Well, people are desperate for the Solu, and that quickly turns into kind of like a mass hysteria, because they lose weight very quickly, but they don't stop losing weight, and they don't realize how dangerously thin they're becoming and how addicted they are to the drug. Y'all, this has some seriously disturbing scenes in it. If you like things that are super gross and super disturbing and creepy, you will love this book. I was sick to my stomach when I finished this book because it's super gross. When I say they will do anything to get the Solu, they will literally do anything. When the ship's supply runs out, they're looking for any place they can get it. It's disturbing, it's horrifying, it's super gross. If you like that, you will definitely love this book. Next, I want to talk about an author, Dan Poblocki. Y'all have probably read some of his books, and we have all of his books in the Sora app. I'm only going to book talk one of them right now, but just know, go in, look for his name. Tons of great books there. He is one of the most popular scary authors right now. I'm going to list all the titles and authors in the description box below this, so make sure you go down and check that out. But the book I'm going to talk about today is The Ghost of Graylock. This one is about a kid named Neil, and he ends up having to go stay with his aunt for the summer. He's excited about it because he is a ghost hunter, and he has heard about this potentially haunted place that's nearby. There is a mental health facility nearby that was closed down a long time ago, so it's derelict, it's falling down, and it is supposedly haunted. Well, he ends up taking his little sister and some of the new kids he meets in the town with him to explore the place. They get some good scares, some good creepiness while they're there, but they're not really sure if it's haunted or not until they get home and discover something has followed them from the abandoned mental institution to their house. What could it be? Super creepy, a great ghost story. Any of his books you will enjoy if you like a good story, just a good, straightforward ghost story. Next we have Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. There are 2 books in this series so far. It is another creepy one. This is about a girl named Harper Rain. She's a 7th grader. Her family has moved to a new town and a new house, and immediately she just gets a bad vibe from the house. Something feels off. She doesn't like it. Her parents are like, Harper, get over yourself. This is where we live now. But strange things start happening with her little brother almost immediately. And it doesn't take long before Harper realizes that the house is haunted and the ghost in the house has decided it wants to take her little brother. And so her little brother is actually possessed by an angry and dangerous ghost. What's cool about this book that's different, it's not just that Harper has to save her little brother and save the day and all that stuff, but she actually has to talk to her Korean grandmother and learn about Korean folklore to use things from her Korean history and her Korean culture to defeat the ghost and to save her little brother. So it has that kind of a different cultural twist on it. This book is super creepy. It's very scary. I highly recommend this one. If you like a ghost story, you will definitely enjoy this one too. The next one is Remember Me by Chelsea Bobulski. This one is a young adult one. So this one is definitely 8th grade and up, but it's just a good ghost story. I really enjoyed reading this one, even though it's one of those where you know what you're getting into, you know what to expect, you could just kind of sit back and enjoy it. It's about a girl named Nell who is moving with her dad once again. He works in hotels all over the country, but he doesn't work in mainstream ones. He kind of works in more niche kind of hotels. And they're moving into this Winslow Grand Hotel that was built in 1878. But as soon as they get there, weird stuff starts happening to Nell. She keeps seeing visions, she feels disoriented, and these things become increasingly more dangerous. She finds herself getting into dangerous situations, and the visions become more upsetting and more disturbing. Well, she meets this bellboy who is kind of a jerk at first, and she doesn't really know how to deal with him. She's like, I've never done anything to you. Why are you being a jerk to me? But the more you go along in the story, the more you start to realize that the visions are of a girl named Leah who was in the hotel in 1905 and had a horrible history are somehow connected to Nell and to this mysterious bellboy in the present. A good creepy ghost story. This does have elements of my parents are forcing me to marry this creepy abusive guy in it, so that's why I'm saying it's definitely 8th grade and up, because it has more mature themes and also just a couple of more mature situations in the book. So definitely 8th grade and up, but a good creepy story. All right, team, I'm gonna end today with one of my all-time favorites. Wait Till Helen Comes by Mary Downing Hahn came out in 1986, and when I read this book, I was hooked on ghost stories thereafter. I mean, there were whole periods of time when I would only read creepy stories. If it was a ghost story, even better. And that's because of Wait Till Helen Comes by Mary Downing Hahn. And I recommend this book to kids all the time now, and everyone who reads it still really enjoys it. The awesome thing about this is Wait Till Helen Comes came out in 1986. Mary Downing Hahn is still writing and publishing books today. Not all of her books are creepy ghost stories, but most of them are. Her most recent book is also a ghost story. We have 27 ebooks and 6 audiobooks on Sora by Mary Downing Hahn. So if you want a good creep fest, just go on there and do a search for her name. Wait Till Helen Comes is about a blended family. So Molly and Michael are brother and sister, they're siblings. Their dad has married someone else. Their mom died in an accident. Their dad has since remarried, and they really do not get along with their stepsister. They think she's a super brat and really annoying. Her name is Heather. But they end up going to this house, and when they get there, Heather starts spending all this time outside, and then she starts talking about this girl named Helen that no one has ever seen or heard of. And she will say things like, wait till Helen comes, every time somebody is mean to her. And it kind of starts to creep Molly out a little bit. And so she starts to do some investigating and discovers that there is no Helen currently living in the area. But there is a Helen who lived there a long time ago and who died in a horrible fire. Y'all, this book is a super creepy ghost story. It's the one that got me into ghost stories. Definitely recommend it. If you've never read Wait Till Helen Comes, what are you waiting for? This is your opportunity right now. You got nothing but time. So that is the last one for today. Remember, these books are all on Sora. You can download the Sora app or go to soraapp.com and log in with your regular computer username or password. Again, if you are not a Cypher ISD student, you can get these books a myriad of other places, including from your local public library or from your local independent bookstore. I hope that everyone is having a good ghostly time right now. Find something to read, find something to enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.